good morning, everyone. Good morning, Aurora. This is gonna be our first program, our first official announcement. I know we'll be doing this in the Spanish version of Estado del Mercado. Now we're switching it back to the English, so don't say, "Hey, how come he's not doing it in English?" So here we are doing it. It's gonna be the first official State of the Market show. We're gonna be talking about real estate, what is going on in the real estate world, everything involved around it. And with us, we have the great realtor, Fathom. My bad, I'm getting ahead of myself. Carlos Olvera with Fathom Realty. He's a real estate agent. He serves the community in Aurora and all around Aurora. And I also know he does also commercial. And with us, we have the great mortgage broker from Aurora, raised in Aurora.
That's right.
Juan Lopez from Great Mortgage.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So with that said, we're gonna let our guest of honor today take kind of ask him a few questions. So with that said, what are the differences you have seen in the real estate world? It can be is moving faster, that's not moving faster, prices, whatever you have seen in the from a year now or even the last few months.
Well, Don, thank you for having me.
No, pleasure.
I think we're getting a little bit more inventory in Aurora. I'm starting to see a little bit more properties come up on the market. I don't know, Juan, what about you?
Well, it's as far as, of course, real estate, right, I was doing a little research and it shows we're pretty much the same as the year before, last year, where the houses, they're not moving as much as they used to be. But it's a little misleading because there's not as many houses before, People are hanging on to their houses because they had the rates in the 2s and 3s. And if they look out there, I'm going to sell my house, more than likely they're going to buy a new one. So when they want to buy a new one, like, wait a minute, that rate, today's rates are double what they were during the COVID years. And they're like, well, I'm going to hang on to my house a little bit because affordability is a big issue now.
Yeah.
Right.
So because of that, we see limited inventory. But if you look at the numbers as far as sales, there's been a decline of 2% year over year since 2023.
Okay.
And this year is no different.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, the houses ain't moving, I told you it's going to crash. It's misleading because there's not that many houses for sale. And that's hats off to you guys because everything that hits the market, man, you guys make that fly.
Yes.
Yes. So again, that's what your limited inventory is not stopping realtors like Carlos and Aron to get that property off the market and quickly. So don't let those numbers confuse you. It's still a very, very hot market.
It is.
And it's limited inventory, so it's slim pickings out there. It might be time, hey, I might have to compromise a little bit and wait for that house with the white picket fence and compromise and probably go a little bit out of your comfort level because real estate, as we all know, represents a different kind of investment. And as you guys know, what also has changed year over year is the house prices.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
They have never been worth more than today, and it only continues to grow. Do you see that it's still continuing to grow, the values of the homes?
It is. And I want to kind of refer back to the hot market. Just a few days ago, got a pre-approval for a buyer, and I told the family it's their first time home buying, and I'm like, yeah, if you really don't want that property, we better go this week. And we cannot go next week. Unless you wanted to go, and it's not there anymore. Oh, really? And I'm like, yes. Yeah. I don't know what you see that on your end, Carlos.
That happened to me this weekend. There's a family. Could we go see it Monday or Tuesday? I'm like, I don't think it's going to be there Monday or Tuesday.
It's kind of like when COVID hit and all the water bottles and the toilet paper and the paper towels are being like gathered on, the shelves were empty.
Right.
That's the kind of way it feels with real estate.
Yeah.
That house you're thinking about, let me think about it. Somebody else already put an offer on it.
Right.
Yeah. Over a little bit over the
Yes.
asking, and no concessions, and sometimes even waive the inspection. If the house is like moving ready, I see that a lot. I don't know in your
Talk to me a little bit about what do you mean by home inspection, not doing it. Explain that to us a little bit.
Yeah, that means they don't want to do the home inspection at all.
Can you explain to us what the home inspection is and why
Home
it's
inspection
there?
It's for the purpose of they need to know what might need in the next few months, maybe in a year. They take a look at the, appliances, the roof,
Attic,
attic.
basement, electricity. So there's like, in the contract we have a few terms, which is inspection. What else can we waive? I don't
The
know.
appraisal.
Appraisal
But
gap.
that's-
Yeah, I've never done a inspection.
Yeah.
Like, I've never told my clients to not do an inspection. That's something that I highly recommend to all my clients.
So basically, when you're looking to purchase a home and you go under contract with one of these two gentlemen or any other real estate agents, or even if you don't use a real estate agent, which is not recommended, you got to have these pros that are here today to help you walk through the process. But once you go under contract, you have the option, because as a lender, which is what I do the mortgage loan, I don't need a home inspection. But the home inspection is very thorough. How long does that usually take?
No, but maybe top 2 hours.
2
Depends
hours.
if it's
2
if it's a
hours.
bigger house.
Mhm.
Maybe we're going to 2 hours and 30 minutes.
And that home inspection is going to tell the buyer what's wrong with the house.
Right.
Because there is no such thing as a perfect
Perfect home.
It
Yeah.
doesn't
Nope.
exist.
There
I don't
is
care if
not.
it's a new build. It
Not
does
even a new
not
build.
exist. So, and that gives the buyer not necessarily leverage, but at least information on what they're buying. So a lot of times to win the house, what you're telling me is, I'm not gonna do an inspection, which means they're not gonna ask the seller to fix anything. They don't care. They want the house. They will use the word as is.
As is.
Yes,
You know?
or we see that already right from the beginning
Yeah.
when we're gonna go see a house. Isn't that right, Carlos?
Yeah.
Right.
It says right there on
As
in
is.
the MLS on the notes. And you're like, ah.
Yeah.
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 So, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to see those words as is. As a loan officer, I'm thinking to me that's opportunity because we do renovation loans.
Right.
Anything that's wrong with it, hey, let's do a renovation loan. We can talk about how that works in a different segment. But with the home inspection, I believe it's very important to have it, even though as your bank, we don't need the home inspection because you got to know what you're buying.
Right.
It's plain and simple. The customers need to know what they're buying. But the home inspection is not going to tell us how much the house is worth. So don't ever confuse, a lot of customers do, they confuse the home inspection with an appraisal.
With an
They
appraisal.
do. They do.
Correct. Yes.
They do. With that said, you want to maybe explain a little bit what a home appraisal is, just to kind of recap a few. I know.
A home appraisal is evil, I tell you. No, well, the home appraisal is gonna give us the value of the house. It's gonna check for mandatory health concerns, that it meets the mandatory health standards set by the state.
And it's done by a third party, correct?
It's done by a licensed, professional, unbiased third-party appraiser. Remember, they're professionals. This is what they do. So even though you order the appraisal through my company, this appraiser does not work for me. They don't work for you, and they don't work for Carlos or Aaron.
No.
They just go out there and they perform a task. And their task is, how much is this house worth? Does it meet the minimum state requirements required by state law for health concerns? So they're going to go out there. The buyers are never there for that.
No.
Once in a while, the seller could be there
Or the listing agent.
or the listing agent. And we had an appraiser on the show before. He was very
Yeah.
informative, saying, hey, sometimes we want them to be there. Let us know how you came up with the value. And Chabiba was very informative.
Yeah.
We had that about a month and a half ago. I never knew that because, again, I'm never there for the appraisal.
No.
Neither is the buyer.
No.
But the appraisal's quick, 5-10 minutes tops, picture, and they're gone. A week later, we have the appraisal. But basically, in a nutshell, that's the appraisal. The only reason I say it's evil is because they cost money. And this is, unless you're a veteran, this is paid out of your pocket up front, and it's not reimbursable. So that's why I say it's evil, because it's money you got to pay from pocket. And you got to keep that in mind when you're doing the contract, when you're negotiating. Hey, we got the contract, so in the buyer's mind, it should trigger, I need the appraisal. Am I going to do a home inspection? Who's my attorney? I got to look for insurance. It's a lot of stuff, but that's why you have us. We'll walk you through that program to make it simple, because it can be very nerve-wracking, very stressful.
Yeah.
So let us stress for you. Let us deal all that stuff, walk you through it so you can rest at night.
Exactly.
That's what you hire us to do.
Right.
Exactly. That's why it's really important to use real estate agent. They're in the industry, because unless you are like a flipper and do that for a living, you might have an idea. But if not, real estate changes time to time. And Juan here's a good example. He's been in the industry for, I want to say, what, 20 plus years?
Yeah,
You've seen a lot, right, over the years.
A little over 25 years. I started doing it when I was 5 years old. So don't age me, okay? But yeah, but you've been doing it for a while too.
6, I want to say.
Okay.
How about you, Carlos?
I'll be 5 years in the industry in December.
So we started at the same time.
About the same time.
Yeah.
Cool,
I still
cool.
feel new, honestly.
Yeah.
There's still
Yeah.
a lot of things to learn.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I want to hear, kind of focus now on Carlos. What's other areas of real estate you also do?
I mean, market
You do
or
market, or do you also do like commercial?
yeah. So I started doing commercial last year,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole different.
Tell us your little bit of experience. I know it evolves a lot, but just
Mhm.
so the people watching us can, know.
I feel it's a little bit different
Mm-hmm.
because first you don't get a pre-approval with a commercial deal. You basically have to go to a bank, talk to them, send them the client, and basically the loan officer, he'll tell me, yeah, they're okay. We send them the property, whatever they're interested in, and we just go and see if the client likes property, but it's very different. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain.
As a realtor, do you show it differently than a house?
We have to look at numbers. We have to
Yeah.
look at numbers, make sure the business makes sense, the everything makes sense in order for them to buy that business.
When you say it makes sense, you're talking about numbers. You're talking about what exactly, like the income, what it generates?
Income, what it generates, profit and loss.
So you're looking at that as you're walking through the building?
Not exactly. I send that over to the loan officer or
So
the
got
bank.
it.
Yep.
So got it. So I do commercial loans too.
Mm-hmm.
And in our world, it's a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
And because it is more paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And especially depending on the business, we're going to look to see, hey, what's the rent roll look like? In other words, what kind of money are they making off that property?
Right.
And if it's a gas station, forget about it, because remember, back to that health standards. There's a lot of health issues if the house is being built or a gas station used to be,
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot of issues when it comes to that. But on the commercial side, it takes a little longer. The rates are a lot more aggressive, and the programs, there's really only like 1 or 2 programs.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't the rate changes like every 5 years for commercial loans? Something like that?
So it can change after 5 years. And with these commercial loans, they're a lot different, right? But I don't want to use too much jargon, and it's kind of hard for me not to use it with commercial loans, but that's for more experienced people. And we don't do too many of those because it's not really my market, right? My market is more the Latino buyer looking to buy around the Aurora greater area or Chicagoland. But once in a while, somebody wants to, I want to buy this building. If you're looking to buy a house, 100,000, even 200,000, you're gonna have a hard time finding financing for that. The other banks, and there's really no laws when it comes to commercial, so they can straight up tell you, we don't lend in Aurora, we don't lend in the near east side, we don't lend in the south side of Chicago. So in other words, whatever has heavy minority presence or high crime rates, they're not gonna lend there. And there's no law saying they can't do that. So all those laws that we all studied and had to get licensed for, all of those go right out the window when it comes to commercial. But to answer your question, most of the commercial loans are 5-year fixed, what we call a balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And in a nutshell, that means every 5 years, you got to pay off that loan, or you got to refinance it, or the bank gets your money. They give you 6 months. So it's kind of scary. So you got to be proactive with those a little bit. In other words, hey, it's coming up on the 5th year now. Start refinancing right away, unless you have a lot of money, you can pay that bad boy off.
Oh man.
Yeah,
All
but you are correct. The rate will change. It'll change according to market because you got to refinance.
Right.
And it's not always a bad thing. Don't think this is a bad thing. This is designed to make sure that your business is still generating income. And then you can decide, hey, I gave it 5 years, because most businesses, guess what? They succeed or close within 5 years. So there's a reason why it's 5 years. And that's been the stat since the beginning of loans. It hasn't changed. So that old saying, as much things change, the more they stay the same. That's a perfect example of it.
I just learned something new.
And it's also different because we have inventory, but it's not like every weekend we're having like 5 commercial properties come up on the market or 10, you know. So there's properties that they've been on the market for a year or two, and that's normal. That's normal.
It moves slower space, I want to say.
It's slower, yes.
Yeah, and I think COVID played a big role on that too. But even before COVID, commercial is not like residential, you know. But more since COVID hit, people are working remotely.
True.
And then a lot of companies found out, hey, we can probably even increase our numbers because our profit is higher because they don't have as much expenses anymore.
True.
So now they're like, oh, you know, we don't need this building anymore, so they don't renew the leases.
True.
So that's something that plays a factor into why so many commercial buildings takes a year.
And all this online shopping now, you know, all these retail stores are either closing, they're reducing their store presence, and
look at the mall.
We've seen that a lot.
In Aurora, the mall in Aurora.
I haven't been there, to be honest, since before COVID. No, not gonna lie.
I mean, what closed down? JCPenney? No, JCPenney's still there.
I think it's still there, but Sears
Gone, closed down.
Marshall Fields or whatever it was called last. I think Macy's is still in the follow.
Right.
But the Fox Valley Mall got smart.
They did condos, right?
Yeah, they built condos. Hey, wait a minute. There's a need for housing. There's all this empty space here. Knock this down and look what they did there. And correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't those sold out?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Yeah, same here. I don't want to lie.
I passed by there and I'm going to tell you something. I never seen nothing's available for sale.
Yeah.
Or even for lease.
I mean, I passed by there maybe to, you know, grab something to eat, but no.
It's packed with people living there and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
So that was some great thinking, whoever thought about that. And then I saw other malls doing the same thing.
True.
Like Yorktown and...
They're also building a few properties over there by Prairie Street, by Orchard.
Yes.
They're doing that.
New model homes.
Yes.
I know. I saw something pop up, but yeah. Those are some new construction homes. They've been built.
So and it's kind of key, new construction, because that kind of leads the way for home sales, because new construction brings new properties into the market.
Right.
And that's something that's been changing for the positive, where there's more projects being built now versus the last 2 years. And that usually signifies, hey, there's more inventory now. Because they weren't building before in COVID, remember? In COVID, we couldn't work. And that it added more fuel to the fire of not having enough homes. So slowly that end is picking up with the the new builds. And those are really key to what we do.
And you can see that behind Menards, going towards Montgomery.
Yes.
I remember that they built like 3 properties there.
Yes.
And then within the years, there's like 10, 15 properties already.
There's actually a library hidden back there too. And I want to say a post office right behind Sam's Club.
Right.
Yeah. That's the area I'm thinking.
I remember Oswego.
Yeah.
It's Oswego, right?
It is. I believe technically it is Oswego. Right there. And they're nice.
Yeah. But you can see the change. Remember, like,
Yes.
what, 8 years ago? It was
empty.
It was empty, like 3 properties right there. But now they're building
cool.
more.
Yeah. So that's something that's actually going on. Just want to take a quick break over here. Say hi to the people tuning in. Daniel Calderon, good morning. Hugo Saltijeral, Michael Gonzalez, and Dora Sanchez. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to this, the official, our first official podcast with State of the Market in the English version.
Good morning, Aurora. I want to say, hey, let me say what's up to my Westwood brother, Daniel Calderon. That's my Westwood brother right there. Yes, sir.
All right.
And Hugo. What's up, Hugo? I haven't talked to you in a minute, man. I know that guy too. And Mike, if I'm not mistaken, Mike's my old DJ friend, Mr. DJ Fat Boy. What's happening, brother? And Dora, I might know Dora. I'm not 100% certain if it's the right Dora. The name's very common, but I don't think it's the Dora that I know, but hello to you too.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. As you can tell, he is from Aurora, born and raised in Aurora. So thank you for being here today. Something we might want to, something I would like to always talk about is about your great down payment assistance. Because we know that affordability is an issue right now. Can you just talk a little bit about those and let the public know that, they don't need to have 20,000 save up or 15,000 that.
Right, they need more like 40 or 50,000 because everything's expensive. So I'm gonna be blunt. It's always cheaper to use your own money, and I tell this to my clients. It's like, look, yes, there's help, and I teach my customers. I'm gonna inform you guys, like, hey, this is the help. This is how it works. Usually, there's a hit to the interest rate, and it comes with more fees. If you use your own money, you get the cheapest rate possible. And my company doesn't charge any fees. So, but let me explain to you the down payment assistance in a nutshell. Say you're buying a house for $200,000, just to make this example simple. For a $200,000 home, this program that required 3.5% down. You're gonna have a lot of banks out there, I have 100% financing. But what they're doing is that 3.5% down on a $200,000 purchase is $7,000. So they'll piggyback it with the second loan. So you have one loan for $193,000 and a second loan for $7,000. And now you have two payments. With that second loan, you don't need that down payment anymore. But what a lot of people don't realize or take into account is there's also closing costs. Remember, I told you my company does not charge any fees to the client. On a regular, if you're using your own money. On down payment assistance, we're forced to charge fees for this so-called free assistance, which I go like this because it's not really free. It's either going to be in the rate or a combination of rate and fees. But sometimes I realize that there is no other way to get it done. So I'm going to present it to the customer and I'm going to let them know, hey, this is how it works. This is what it is. Yes, you can dive into this house with no money down. But don't forget, you still have closing costs. And that's regardless if you use down payment assistance or not. It'll be cheaper because if you don't use down payment assistance, because we don't have closing costs, but you still have third-party fees like appraisers, the title companies, the insurance. Nobody's going to do those things for you for free. They cost money. Yeah. So in addition to a down payment, you got to budget for the closing costs. And there's even a down payment program for that as well. Or sometimes I've seen Carlos. You're the only one I've seen, man, that's getting seller credits.
There you go.
And in this market, remember, it's a tough market out there. But somehow this guy's been able to negotiate them. And he's the only realtor that I've seen that's been doing seller credits.
There you go.
He is the only one, and I work with real estate agents all the way from Chicago to Rockford to Peoria. And for somehow, I don't know what this guy does. He probably does a Jedi mind trick. There's closing costs. I don't know what he does. But he's the only one I've seen have those on the contract. Yeah. But it just goes to show you, these are not easy to come by. Yeah. But it is something that can be negotiated. You can always ask, but there's definitely ways you can buy a house. But most people don't buy a house. Again, affordability compared to COVID years. We had rates 2s and 3s. It was great. The houses, to this day, they're selling themselves. Mm-hmm. The loans are not. And that time of COVID, we had the perfect storm where everything's selling itself.
Yeah.
The house, the loan, it was 2-3% interest. Are you kidding me? It's free, almost free money.
Did your phone ring a lot?
Dude, it wouldn't stop. I didn't have a life. I never ever want to be that way again because I couldn't sleep. I was dreaming about loans. They're like, man, and it's a problem that you love to have, but nevertheless, it's still a problem, right? I I don't know, 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And sometimes I catch myself even today working till 8, 9 o'clock at night. Because thankfully, agents like you guys keep me busy.
There you go.
And it's fun, and time just flies and flies and flies. What to answer your question is yeah, it's a great time. I always feel that the best time to buy is not when COVID hit. People think they missed the boat, 2s and 3s. It's not when the houses were a lot cheaper than what they are today. To me, in my experience, the best time to buy is when you're ready.
Exactly.
Because for whatever reason, we weren't ready back then.
Exactly.
And people don't buy, I don't have the down payment assistance. Well, we got a program for that. Well, I don't have the credit score. Carlos can tell you, I had somebody go from a 0 credit score to how much, Carlos?
Oh, 700.
Over 700. How long did it take?
Like 3 weeks, right?
3 weeks.
Wow.
So if you don't have credit, I got you. And how much did I charge the customer? Do you remember?
Nothing.
I did charge them. You just don't know it. I charged them 2 clients.
Yeah.
And they always laugh when I tell them that. Yeah, man, I need 2 clients from you. But it's a service that we provide to any referral that you guys send to us.
That's good. That's
So
good.
we're gonna, if you want to buy a house, we're gonna teach you how to get there, either today, tomorrow, or next year. But we're gonna find a way to get you in that house.
That's amazing.
And another reason people don't buy it is their income. Some people have fixed incomes, or they're making minimum wage, and it's hard again because of what you said, affordability, right?
Yeah.
So for them, I teach them, hey man, like, you can't buy that house yet with the white picket fence, but you can do this. It might still be a compromise to you, but it's better than renting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So either way, we'll find a way to get to people. The only thing I can't overcome are people with bankruptcies and foreclosures, because there's a mandatory wait time for them. And unless you're in that situation, unless you have 20% down, you're gonna have to wait. But if you have 20% down, I have a program for you too.
There you go.
All
There
right?
you go. That's amazing. You hear that, friends? Always ask the professionals in the industry. That's really good stuff that we're learning over here. We have a few minutes before we wrap it up. We don't want to forget about here our guest Carlos. So, just a few questions before we end this. How did Carlos get started with real estate, and what areas do you serve? And what has been your greatest obstacle, and then your greatest enjoyment in the industry?
Okay. So I got started actually when I bought my first house.
Yeah.
I used to own a business. I sold that, got into real estate, and the realtor that helped me buy my house, I asked him, I'm like, hey, how can I get my license? He's like, do this, do that. So I started, Google searching. You can find everything on Google. So yeah, I got my license when I was 21, and from there on, I've been selling real estate. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
And the areas you serve?
Aurora,
Okay.
Montgomery.
Okay. You go to Chicago sometimes?
I go to Chicago, Cicero,
Okay.
Rockford. I mean, everywhere.
Okay. No, that's right. Just
What was
wanna.
your realtor?
Aziz Shabazz.
I heard the name before. Heard
Me
the
too.
name, yes.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
Aziz.
Hi. How can people find on social media? And please let people know your phone number.
You can find me as Carlos Olvera, and then my phone number is 630-670-4302.
There you go. So that's going to conclude our program with our state of the market. Tune in. We're not going to be here next week, but we're going to be here the following week. So with that said, thank you everyone for tuning in, and share this program with all your beloved friends and family members. See you next time.
Feeling bullied by your bank?
Hey, I got a random overdraft fee.
You've reached our main menu. If you're disputing an overdraft fee, please press 4. Or just hang up and call back tomorrow.
Are you pretending to be a robot?
Goodbye.
Stop banking the same way expecting different results and start banking where you matter. Wintrust. Different approach,